fellow Olympians, and all friends of swimming. First, I must congratulate the city of Fort Lauderdale on its centenary celebrations. I'm actually looking forward to my own in due course. It's wonderful what you've already achieved, and I wish you great success in your plans for the future, especially those that will benefit the International Swimming Hall of Fame. I do feel very honoured standing here. What other septuagenarian could stand on the podium and put his hand on his heart and say, "I beat Ian Thorpe"? I think perhaps that's the reason why he's not turned up today. I do sincerely thank the members of the Selection Committee of the International Swimming Hall of Fame on this wise and generous award, which I'm very proud to accept. I have to admit that, like the very best of surprises, it was totally unexpected. There's always been little bits of us that hope and dream that things will happen, but clearly this is the real thing, and I will do my very best to deserve this award and to be a good ambassador for all of swimming. At functions like this, it's customary to cry a little and to thank everybody. It's a funny thing, but as a polio victim and as an asthma sufferer as a child, it's not surprising that I was not very good at sport, and neither did I like it. But when I was 14 and a half, my headmaster stood up in school one day and made an announcement at assembly. He said, "I'm sure you'll all be delighted to hear that Neil Tasker has been selected to swim for Great Britain." I had suddenly been struck by lightning. I looked around and I said, "Which one is Neil Tasker?" And they said, "That one over there." And I thought to myself, he doesn't look any different to anybody else. And if he can swim for Great Britain, I'm certain that I can. And so I introduced myself to him and I said, "I want to swim like you, Neil." And he offered me all the help I could possibly ask for, and I followed in his footsteps, and 4 years later I was a member of Great Britain's Olympic team, and a 55-year friendship had begun. Neil, I'm sorry you can't be with us tonight. He's a tetraplegic now, unfortunately, but a million thanks for all your support. People read a lot about the loneliness of the long-distance runner. Well, I'm most definitely not a runner. I am a swimmer, and I can assure you that there is nothing that I have achieved without the support of a small and dedicated team of people. And I take this opportunity to publicly thank them for everything they've done for me. I've been so lucky to have a small group of friends who were willing to put themselves through the most excruciating agonies so that I could claim to have swum something, somewhere, and of course take all the credit. Yes, it's true, I was so poorly organised that I used to turn up to swims with nothing more than a pair of swimming trunks and a pair of goggles. On one occasion, I did not even have a towel, and I never gave food a thought. And funnily enough, I turned up at pool yesterday, and I didn't have a towel. And I had to go back to the hotel to get one. And again, following on from Tom's most enjoyable speech, yes, I climbed the starting blocks at the pool yesterday, and the whistles went in every direction when I was asked to get down. And it was harder getting down than it would have been to dive in, but there it is. So to that small band of dedicated people, those helpers and organisers, you know who you are, and many of you are looking down on me from above at this moment in time. I owe you everything. Thank you. And amongst this group, I would like to pay tribute to all those of you who, behind the scenes, make it possible for long-distance swimmers to do great things. And I would especially include my fellow board of directors on the Channel Swimming Association, and I'm delighted that we have Montserrat Pressroots here from Spain, and I hope that we have Stanley Paris from Northern Florida with us today. And I also include the likes of Drury Gallagher of Manhattan, and Catalina, and Tampa Bay, and the Florida Keys, and all those other swimmers. And I also want to remember and thank the rowers, the kayakers, the timekeepers, the observers, without whose support nothing would be possible. And a word of caution to my fellow swimmers. We have responsibilities, and we have a duty of care to those around us. Retiring when things get unsafe is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. There is nothing heroic about putting other people's lives at risk. There is always another day. And finally, I'm delighted that I'm able to share this evening with my wife, who took me for better or worse and to swim almost 50 years ago, and to my daughter. Only they know and understand the sacrifices that swimmers and that families have to make to support dedicated long-distance swimmers. Yes, you've moaned at me. Yes, I've shouted back. And I'm sorry, but this is my story. I would do it all again. The only difference is I would do it better. Thank you a million times from the bottom of my heart for letting me get on with things and worry you to death. I'm sure you'll forgive me. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.